All right. So what is your value? Now we're gonna keep it 100 today. So I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, and I want you guys to really kind of pay attention all the way through and not fall too deep into your emotions before we kind of get through this. Because many of you may turn your thinking off if you are offended, because that's what happens a lot of times. People get offended by what is said, and immediately they focus on that one thing, and they're not really paying attention to everything else. Okay, so you
JM,
guys,
JM, you need to pray, sir.
oh yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. We do need to pray as always. All right. Lord God of heaven, we thank you and we give you praise, Father. We thank you so much for bringing people here today. I know, Lord God, that you have something great and wonderful you want to put on their hearts. And while we do know that a lot of the information today is more worldly, we know, Lord God, that you can be still in the midst of it all. So we thank you, we honor you, we praise you, and we just ask that you would touch each and every last person, bless them today, and just move with your goodness and your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, all right. Yeah, if I don't pray, y'all supposed to tell me now, because we got to make sure it's good. But anyway, like I was saying, please kind of abandon your emotions at least for a while to hold them at bay. This lesson will be hard to hear for many people, and a lot of the teachers that you hear that they're out there will kind of navigate around hard topics. They do that to retain their following. Again, like I said, most people kind of go to the choir. They're preaching to the choir. They're going to an echo chamber, because what happens is you have something in your heart. You say all men are like this or all women are like this, and you've already made that decision up in your heart. So then you go to somebody that echoes that back to you, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel justified. Okay, so that's one of the things that people do. But what we need to do is many times listen to some hard lessons, because we can learn from them and we can grow from them. And like I said, we have both men and women on this call. So that should be something for people to really pay attention to, that I'm not trying to lean it more one way or the other. I'm really trying to kind of go in deep on it. And like I say, please in the chat, knock it up. You know, if I'm wrong, you know, you can say it. I don't care. But remember, I can't see the chat until I get done speaking. So if you want to say something directly to me, you won't be able to do that for about an hour unless you say it to the whole group through, by just unmuting yourself or raising your hand. What's going on, Davita? Okay, so let's get into it. So dating marketplace value. Some of you might have heard this before. That is what we're talking about today. I don't want to play around with it. I want to jump right into it, because I want people to understand what we are talking about. So this is the value that gets placed upon a person while they're dating. Okay, a lot goes into this, a lot more than what you see right here. But these are some of the main things that you need to understand. There is age involved. This is one of the things that we all kind of know. Your city and your location are involved. Why? Why is your city and location involved? Well, because every city has its own vibe. Every city has its own energy. And while you might not be appreciated in one city, you might be appreciated in another. Same thing with culture and culture within culture. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, we have American culture, right? But then we have the Black culture, we have the Latina culture, we have the Asian culture, we have people that come from other countries. So somebody might be, let's say, Black in America, but then it's totally different if they're Black and they're from the Caribbean. That's a whole different culture. And or if they're Black from Africa. And guess what? Africa is huge. Africa is not one country, okay, or one people. There are literally thousands of people and thousands of cultures. So when you're talking about that, you're talking about all these different cultures, and everybody's going to look at something totally different. A lot of today, I will be talking about myself, because I like to, if somebody's going to take the hit, I want to take the hit, because I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about somebody else. So I'm going to talk about myself. In my dating experience, when I am dating, because for those that don't know, I am 45 years old. and I don't have children. So I'm still dating to try to have children. So a lot of times when I am dating women in America and I am going down and I'm trying to date somebody, let's say around the age of 30, an American woman, while I can date them and I have done it in the past, it's a lot more difficult. However, if I date somebody who literally is a first or second generation from another country, because in their culture, they're very used to men being much older, I find that it's much easier for me to date those women. So even though it might be a Black woman, it might be a Black woman from Nigeria or a Black woman from Eritrea or Ethiopia or Somalia or South Africa, or even from the islands. Okay, so a lot of times when I'm talking to a woman like that, 10 years or 15 years to them is like, whatever, I don't even give a flip about it, they don't even care. So the culture within the culture does matter, because at my age, because I'm getting older, my dating marketplace value is actually going down. It goes down with every year of my life, because there's a lot that goes with that, but it does. I mean, I'm not, even as a man, a lot of men walk around and say, well, my value doesn't go down, it's just women's. That's bull garbage. That is straight up bull garbage, okay? Okay, everybody's value will peak at a certain point and it starts to decrease at a certain point. That is just what it is, that's life. And we all gotta get over it, okay? So the amount of children that you have, this affects your dating marketplace value. Why? Because it's, you know, as quiet as it's kept, most people don't want to take care of another person's child. Even women are like this. I see women all the time, and as I'm scrolling and swiping left and right, and they'll be like, look, dude, if you got more than one child, it's over. Don't even swipe right on me. Or if you don't, if I don't want any children, you know, they all have what they want. So generally, the more children you have, the more your marketplace value does decrease. Your height, your weight, your clothing style, all these things, again, matter. We act like they don't. We want to push things to the side. They do matter. But remember, all this is about culture. Okay, so if you are in a certain area, again, I'm gonna beat myself up. I am 5'8.5", 5'9". Those people that have seen me in person, they know that to be true. I am not lying about my height. Okay, that brings my marketplace value down. Why? Because in America, every woman has 6 foot or 6'2" in their head. Okay, and I can't get around it. There's nothing I can do. There's no hoops I can jump through in order to beat that requirement. It is what it is. Okay, so that brings down my marketplace value. Okay, my grooming and for a woman, they're glamour. Okay, there are guys that don't care about how they look. They walk around, they're jeans and t-shirt guys all the time. One of the things that I tell guys in this group, and they hear me say it all the time, is that a lot of times the ladies will come and they're ready to rock and roll, and guys, y'all are walking around in t-shirts and jeans. And you're wondering why the ladies won't look at you. Okay, you got to play the game. Okay, so all of this, I want you to understand this right now, because like I say, some of this is gonna hurt. None of this means you cannot get attention or you cannot get into a relationship. Okay, so all what I'm telling you, it is not the end all be all. It doesn't mean that the world is over. It doesn't mean, oh my gosh, I'll never have anybody. It doesn't mean any of that. The only thing that it means is that it may be a little bit harder for you, okay? But it also depends on all the other things you have going on in your life, because it's about the weight of all of those things summed up, okay? And the truth is, like many of you guys probably already know, most of y'all already know this. What I'm telling you right now, you kind of had that voice in the back of your head that kind of was telling you this, but you didn't want to really think about it. And so now, you know, it's out in the open. Okay, so here are some unwritten rules, okay? And this is all subconscious rules. Here are generally the non-negotiables that I run into for most women when I talk to them. They really want a guy to be able to provide, at least for himself and for a child. So to make enough money that The woman doesn't have to literally pay anything for this guy, and he could support at least one child. Okay. Now, most women really want him to make enough money to take care of both of them, for her, him, and a child. But many of them will try to say, well, if he makes at least that, I can deal with it. But again, that's going back to what we're dealing with in our current society. In the back of most women's head, they're thinking, I want this man to be able to take care of me. Okay? So that's kind of like a non-negotiable. Society tries to clean it up, but that in the back of a lot of women's heads is like, this dude needs to take care of me. Okay, and he needs to protect me. He needs to protect me from other men. He needs to protect me from dangers, and he needs to protect my children. Okay, and for men, it is to be attractive, but it's about what his eyes behold as beauty, not what you think is beauty, because that's where a lot of women make their mistake. They're constantly thinking about society and societal norms of beauty instead of looking at straight up beauty. So why do men really care about this? And then also the caring, loving, and supportive. To be caring, loving, and supportive. There's a lot of women who are beautiful, but they're just total jerks. Okay, because when you see a beautiful woman walking through wherever you live, and you're like, man, she's so beautiful, why is she alone? 9 times out of 10, she'll tell you, oh, it's because I'm so beautiful. And guys, they just don't want to talk to me because they're just so insecure about my beauty. But 9 times out of 10, she's a jerk. Okay. And while she can get a man to talk to her as far as her beauty is concerned, she can't get a man to commit because she's just a jerk. And the guys basically don't want to deal with her anymore. So if I'm wrong on these non-negotiables, y'all are welcome to tell me. But from what I have gone through and I have seen and I've talked to by running this group for almost 2 years, doing tests and psychological evaluations, talking to people on the phone, these things come up over and over and over again. Okay? So here are some unwritten images. Okay? So for women, they are generally looking for men who are taller and or bigger in some way. I hear women will say things like, his arms just made me feel so small and just engulfed me, things like that. They like men who are craftier and smarter in some way than them. They like men who are aggressive about money, investment, and jobs. Men want women who are shorter or smaller in some way, women who are submitted to his leadership, women who are passionate about their family. So what's really happening is men are outwardly focused while women are inwardly focused. Does that make sense? Okay, go ahead, Davida. Remember, we're doing 2 to 4 minutes.
Oh, no. I don't have you said doesn't make sense. I would like you to elaborate.
Okay, so on this image that you can see up here, this is kind of the thing. So everybody's attached to everything, but it's about the amount in every direction. So for men, hold on, I've got people trying to come in. So for men, man, everybody coming in right now, all of a sudden. So for men, they have an outward, so the square represents the family. So for those that cannot see, there's a man, a woman, and 2 children in a box. That is the family, what we would call a quote unquote nuclear family. So the man is outwardly focused away from the family towards God and Christ, and also outwardly focused towards the world to take care of money and finances and things like that. And while the woman is concerned about those things, if you're on a computer, you can see that the arrow is thinner.
I see it now. I understand.
Okay, so yeah, her primary focus is to her husband and to her children, while the man's primary focus is towards God and the world and to his wife. And when things are in this order, generally speaking, what we've seen from studying, people have seen from studying cultures all over the world and different things like that, people talk about being happier. They talk about having healthier families and all this other kind of fun stuff. But when things kind of get out of order, where the woman is more focused towards God, it's like I tell guys all the time, when they see a picture or a movie where you see old grandma or old auntie up praying in the closet, Jesus, Jesus, protect my son, Jesus. I'm telling you, Jesus, just protect. Okay, when you see that, that is, believe it or not, that's a woman kind of out of order, because a man should be the spiritual head. So he should be praying that prayer. Not to say that the woman can't. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to kind of misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying women can't pray. But what I'm saying is men have lost their understanding that they're supposed to be that spiritual move toward prayer. That they are to be that person that is leading their family, not just from a financial space, but also from a spiritual place. Okay.
We
So
can come back to that at the end.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
That's why I say a lot of men have abandoned their post. I'm not gonna act like these men are, not making mistakes. And I got guys on the call, so they listening. So
Yeah.
here we go. So when we're dealing with age, and I actually think this is a little bit of an extreme chart, but this is generally what a lot of people want to say. And there's certain things about this that I kind of agree, and then there's certain parts about it that I don't agree. But basically, what we're dealing with, again, is this subconscious desire, in the back of people's mind. Okay? So when men are talking about dealing with age when it comes to women, they're still primarily looking toward this concept of, can she bear children? Okay, it doesn't matter how old the woman is, it's just kind of the appearance of the concept of, can she bear children? And when for women, it's like that unconscious thinking of, can he take care of me and my kids? So when we see charts like this, they seem like it's just so unfair. It's just so unfair. And it's unfair for both sides. Men always feel rejected generally in their teens and in their 20s, and they don't feel like they really women come to value them until they're in their 30s and 40s. Okay, but women, they get it early. They get all that attention in high school and college and or technical school, whatever it is, and then it goes away really quick. And then they don't quite understand what happened. Okay, but again, this is not etched in stone, but we need to kind of understand it. Okay, so there's Christian traits that we all want, and even non-Christians believe in these values. And that is patience, kindness, not to be jealous, boastful, proud, or rude, or irritable, not to have someone who is commanding. So what does commanding mean? Commanding and a man leading is two totally different things. Okay, I could do a whole nother session on that, and maybe one day we will. But a man who leads and a man who is like a forceful commander, dictator in his house is two totally different things, ladies. Okay, so don't get those ever caught up when you're like, well, I'm trying to submit. I'm really trying to submit to this guy, but he's such a jerk. Okay, if you're really walking with a guy who knows who he is, even beyond God, I mean, if he knows who he is, he should be able to lead you in a way that feels very comfortable. But you have to find healthy men, and men have to find healthy women. Okay, and that's one of the things that we're always trying to do here at CSC. Somebody have something to say? Okay, no, we're good. All right. The person should be hopeful and excited. They should allow for growth, and they should be accepting and caring. We also see that in Ephesians, which I always think is really interesting, but when I talk to men and women, I do find that these things kind of echo, where men don't really care as much about women loving them. They care more about women respecting them. And respect is one of the first things that a lot of women take away when they're dealing with men. Women, on the other hand, he encourages men to love them, because sometimes men will respect their wife, but they won't love her. Okay, so it's talking about, again, those needs that people have. But everybody, like I said, even non-Christians, believe these things, because as God said, a lot of these things are written on our heart, no matter what. So let's go through some translations. Why do we have to translate? Well, because people get their stuff so confused, where they don't understand what the other side is saying. So when a woman says, you know what, Jay, there are no good men out here. They're just no good men. What she really means is there are no good men out here who can protect and provide for me, who I find attractive by being taller, stronger, and with good testosterone levels, i.e. chiseled jaw, decent muscles, or whatever it is. I mean, it doesn't mean that he's perfect. It just means that he has that underlying just enough where you can tell that's in his DNA. And he's also kind, loving, and that I can easily submit. When a man says there's no good women out here, what he really means is there are no good women out here who are kind but beautiful by my standards, who see my worth and value. Women who will naturally submit without argument. And the reason why we have to say this and understand this is because this is what people do. But see, that's why you have to understand that whole concept of the non-negotiables that are sitting right underneath. And when I hear people complaining, again, these first 8 slides, when I hear people complaining, women complaining, and I talk and we really get it out, it always generally comes down to, I want a decent guy that I'm attracted to, who's taller than me, who has, at least a good job, that'll be nice to me. And the guys, as they'll go through theirs, they'll be like, man, these women, they don't respect you. They don't care about you. They don't take care of themselves. They won't, dress up for me or anything. So it always goes back to these core values. And there's really no way to honestly just get around them. There is a point where you just kind of have to say you're hurting yourself if you don't try to do anything that the opposite sex is really looking for. But here is the trick of, in the Christian world, we say of the enemy. Okay. So the society we live in now has this trick going on where inside the woman's mind is, I want things. I don't want to wait or feel the need for a man to bring me these things. I'll get these things on my own through my education, through my jobs. Now I possess these things, but I have a realization that I don't have love. And then I'll show the man that I can love through the things I possess. And then it comes back to why won't somebody love me? Why does this happen? Because it's simple. Guys don't care about the things you possess. Guys don't care about your money. It doesn't mean that they don't care at all. It's just not as high on their agenda. It's not as high on the things they care about. And like I said, I'm trying to be real today where it, even hurts a little bit. Okay, Angel, what's up?
Hi. So, yeah, from a biblical standpoint, I mean, that would make sense. But societally, it seems like, well, I'm gonna say more so among Black men. It seems like that is something that guys care about, like even more so than like innate characteristics. So it's like, okay, well, I want a woman that won't have to depend on me, so that I can build my brand. I mean, that seems to be like a new age kind of thing that's that you hear. This might be, I'm in my 30s, so I know we have like different ages, but among my generation, that's kind of like what I hear guys my age say.
No,
like, I don't want someone who I have to support. I want her to, be the total package, i.e., have her degree, be, a 10, have all this stuff so that, when we get together, she's not bringing me down, basically.
No, I'm with you. I 100% agree with what you said. But what you have to remember and kind of recognize is it's not so much about the age group. Part of it is society, but then also part of it is like when men do that, what you're talking about, what they're basically doing is they're trying to get you to help them be the bigger man that they need to be.
Mhm.
You kind of understand what I'm saying? See,
Yeah.
a lot of what we're talking about here is not necessarily the full, this is fully etched in stone, is going to only work this way. What it's saying is we got subconscious things going on. And so for men, subconsciously, they know they need to quote unquote bring home the bag. Okay. That women will not love them if they don't have the bag. Okay. That's been going on for generation after generation after generation. So now you got men that believe that because, especially a lot of Black men, depending upon where they are, they're in that situation where they're trying to say, okay, I might be worth more because I'm an educated Black man and, these Black women want me. So now they're trying to get more Black women to bring more stuff to the table.
Okay.
Instead of just doing their job and their side of it, they're trying to get the woman to do it as well. And you actually have women that do the same thing. And say again?
I was agreeing. That's true.
Yeah, and one of the things about it, and if you come out next week, because I don't know if you're in Atlanta, but if you come out next week, we'll be talking about that a lot more. There is a note I made in this particular presentation because it's really talking about more of a reverse type of situation where people are, kind of leaning on, like I say, little tricks like that they can get away with, or they're not fully in their energy that they should be in. So yeah. So are you in Atlanta?
I am.
Okay. So if you want to come out next week, you can, because we're going to be going over that. We've kind of gone over that kind of stuff before, but we're going to go a little bit harder next week on that. But again, this is not to say that this is 100% etched in stone. I'm not trying to say everything etched in stone, but a lot of women, what happens is that they will get all these possessions, they'll have all these things, and then they lean into a relationship with those things. And that's the thing I really want people to kind of understand, is that if you lean into your next relationship with that, it might work depending upon the guy, but a true man walking in his full masculinity, that's really not going to work. Because he's not going to be as concerned about your PhD as he's concerned about his own. You want me to say the man part, Davida, or you want me to just go ahead and call on you now? And I know I saw Daisy had her hand up. Oh, so she had her hand up. Come on, Daisy. I'm gonna call on her real quick before I call on you, Davida, because she did have her hand up. What's up?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I wanted to talk to is it Angel?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's Angel.
yeah. What I would say is for younger people, about Thomas's age, maybe a year older, but for younger people, be careful what where you get your messaging from, because I noticed that just like he said, men.
But only in that beneath, and the devil has no place and no authority in our life.
Who was that?
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Okay, that wasn't me. Okay, so because I noticed that just like you said, Thomas, men are leaving their position for sure, and it's like it's happening in droves. When you come to church, there are no men there. I mean, even this group, we're like 99% women. So anytime we gather, as Christians, the men are nowhere to be found. So there's something happening for sure to the men, spiritually. And the messaging is really getting tough on them. And some men, even Christians, or those who call themselves Christians, believe a certain thing these days, that a woman should be this, a woman should be that, while dissolving themselves of their own responsibilities. But that is a lie. And but that depends on where you get your messaging from. If you switch, from one platform to another, that is more sound, more maybe made up of Christian men who understand their purpose in Christ, you will see the messaging will be completely different. So I would advise you to, kind of look for those. Don't just listen to just about anyone who has a platform that has something to say about, men and women. Pick and choose who tells you, what you should listen to. I guess that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Daisy. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, what I've learned is that when people have their stuff in order, I don't care if it's a woman or a man, they walk with a different type of confidence and they walk with a different energy. Like I said before, the number one thing I hear from men, and I use myself as an example, is I hear it going down to literally the bigness of the man, that the physical bigness of the man, which goes to protection. Like I said, I'm 5'9". So when I run into women who are under 5'5", they generally don't have issues. But the closer they get to my height, they just don't like it. And I don't think it's a heels thing. I think it really goes down to a subconscious level where they want a bigger guy because in their mind, a bigger guy will protect them. It's kind of like most people, even in the middle of the summer, sleep in their bed with a comforter on them. And the reason why they do that is because their blankie is protecting them, even though they're hot. And people will turn on the AC to blow it out. That comforter is a protection. So it's the same mindset. So what do men want? Well, from a subconscious place, they want offspring, and they want the best offspring. So offspring, the mindset is the more attractive the woman is, the better the offspring will be. Because beauty for most people has a lot to do with the perception of health. Okay, it's the perception of health. It's not the real thing. It's the perception of health. And there's a huge difference between health and age and all these other things. Because a lot of times, especially here in America, we think things like, oh, okay, well, when this person gets to this particular age, they can't do X, Y, Z. Excuse me, but that's not true. What's really happening is a lot of people in America are just not healthy. And so the average unhealthy person cannot do X, Y, Z at this age because of health, a lot more so than it has to do with actually dealing with, can they do or can they not do? Because men, like there's a guy, I think his Sexy Grandpa or something like that. He just had a newborn baby from a woman, I think that's like 20 years younger than him. And this guy's in shape, all this other kind of stuff. He's like 65 or whatever, and he pulls this 40-year-old woman and he has a kid by her. But, he's still healthy. He can still get it up. I know we're a Christian group, but like I said, I try to keep it real. So, his member is still, doing what it's supposed to do. And his soldiers are still marching. Okay, so it's just the fact that he's taking care of himself. But anyway, let's move on. So men, they get into this mindset of I don't want to work for sex or to become the man that I need to be. I don't want to be successful. I just want to be lazy. So now I'm going to learn tricks, but I'm not achieving what I desire. What have I done wrong? And if you don't believe that this is true, go out and just look up pickup artists on YouTube, and you will find millions of men sitting around trying to figure out how to be a pickup artist because that way they don't have to work for it. They're just going to use a woman's insecurities against her in order to get what they want instead of being the man that she wants him to be. And then the women naturally being attracted. Okay, so these are the tricks of the devil, the enemy, whatever you want to say, is society that basically is trying to convince men and women that you don't have to play this game. You can do what you want, but 9 times out of 10, if you do not play it at all, you're just going to be hurt. So what happens? Now you get anger because these things aren't working. Nobody's telling me the truth. I don't know where to go, and I am frustrated. So now men are thinking, oh, women are garbage. Men are garbage. Men don't know what they want. Men won't be themselves. How many times have I heard a woman say that? Oh, just be yourself. Why you want to act like somebody else? Just be yourself. Okay? Because men are acting like something else. Then you get with them, and then 3 months later, they act like something else. Okay? And then women have this thing where they say men only really want sex. But the reality is your beauty as a woman, your class as a woman, your sweetness, all those things matter. Okay. Then men are thinking women are garbage. Women always go after the wrong guy. They always go after the arrogant SOB with the big money and the big pockets and the Mercedes Benz. And all these women do is chase money. But in reality, women are attracted to strength. They're attracted to ambition. And they're attracted to leadership. And those things matter. And so you can't, as a man, jump around them. You need to kind of figure it out. So here is a biblical case study. And again, I'll read most of it for those that can't see. So all this is having to do, they're trying to find a wife. I think this was for Isaac. I think this was Isaac. I think it's Rebecca and Isaac. So anyway, it's Abraham sends his servant out to find a wife for, I think, Isaac. And so basically what ends up happening is this beautiful woman, Rebecca, and it says Rebecca was very beautiful and old enough to be married, but she was still a virgin. And she goes down to the spring, she fills her jug, and she comes up again, and she runs over to, this guy runs over to her and says, "Hey, can I have a drink from your jug?" And then she's like, "Yeah, sure, sure, my lord." And she answers, and she says, "Have a drink." And then she quickly lowered her jug from her shoulder and gave him a drink. And then after she had given him a drink, she said, "You know what? Let me go ahead and water your camels too, until they've had enough to drink." And then the servant watches her, and then he says, "Oh my God, God has already blessed me." And then at last, when the camels had finished drinking, he took out a gold ring for her nose and 2 large bracelets for her wrists, and he gave them to her. Okay, so what you see here is, yes, this woman was beautiful. Okay, that's the first thing that says. But then she's a nice person. She's a genuinely nice person. She don't know this guy. And she's like, not only am I going to give you a drink, I'm going to go ahead and take care of your camels while I'm here. Okay. And what we see throughout the Bible is, even when you look at and I always felt bad for Leah. I'm not going to lie. I always felt bad for Leah. Because, they said she wasn't that cute. I think it says she had no light in her eyes. I think that's how the Bible says it. And so as they're going through all of this, it's kind of like, dang, he just really didn't care that much because she just wasn't that cute. That is really, really sad. But it's like, it goes back to all these other things that we've been talking about. Okay, so let's get into this media confusion, which is what I can always tell how people think based off of what they watch. But it's always interesting how when people watch things, they don't really see what they're seeing. And they don't even know why they're attracted to certain things. And y'all know me, I think that media is the #1 enemy out here, because media loves to confuse everybody and just have everybody thinking one way, okay? Now, people that make media, I am a person that makes media. So again, for all those people that are new, I write books, okay? I have written movies. Y'all can watch 2 of my movies. Literally, when you get off this call, you can go watch 2 of my movies. And yes, when you are sitting around and you are coming up with this stuff, you do think about what emotion you want out of people. So I don't know if you guys know these 2 movies. I am going to describe them so that you can kind of understand if you don't know. So the top one is Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley. This is actually one of my favorite films. It is a romance, but it is one of my favorite films. If you look at Keira Knightley's character in this movie, she's kind of a plain Jane chick. Her parents don't have money. Well, they have a little bit of money, but they don't have massive money. She comes from a family of 5 daughters. So there's no male heir to take on, because this was way back in the day when women couldn't carry money. The money wouldn't follow the daughter to the next generation. The guy that she's talking to here is Mr. Darcy. Okay, so if you've ever heard of a character named Darcy in a movie, he was probably a play on Mr. Darcy, which comes from Pride and Prejudice. The age difference between these two is well over 10 years. Okay, it's not quite as bad as Ruth and Boaz. For those that don't understand, Boaz was probably at least 25 years older than Ruth. But let's get to it. The whole thing is this guy is pretty wealthy. Darcy is pretty wealthy. He owns all these estates. He's doing all these businesses. Everybody wants to do business with Darcy. He is on his stuff. And he is a tower of a man, fully muscular, fully filled out, the whole 9 yards. He can, without a doubt, protect and provide. And here is this plain Jane girl that all she has is her wits. And her sister is prettier than her. So if you've ever watched this film, her sister is prettier than her. And they make a point out of that because you know what? You're trying to talk to a certain audience, which is the audience of the woman who does want. She wants to be loved despite her plainness. And not just despite her plainness, she wants to be loved by the epitome of manliness. That is the romance that they sell to women. This one down here, what is this? This is Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Okay, if you remember the original Spider-Man, okay, Tobey Maguire is a nerd. He has no muscle tone. He has glasses. He gets beat up right in front of Mary Jane Watson, the whole 9 yards. Everybody is looking at him like he is the biggest loser, but he is smart. What happens? He always has a crush on her, and she's nice to him, but she's not gonna date him. And we all know that. But he's still in love with her. Okay, so what do men want? They want to be loved despite weakness and lack of ambition by the epitome of womanliness, because Mary Jane Watson was the it girl in the school. Everybody wanted her. So it's not just any girl, it's the epitome of that person. And who is the guy representing? Think about comic books. So many men read comic books. And Spider-Man's story is not uncommon. If y'all are into the Marvel universe, you know Captain America was exactly the same. He was a little nerd. He was short. Women would not even talk to him. And now he becomes this man. You see that over and over again in comic books. What you see in romance novels is over and over again the plain Jane chick trying to get the guy. Everybody knows what they're doing when they're preying on your emotions. So don't let these people prey on your emotions. Don't let them lie to you. That's why I say, even when you talk about people that preach to the choir, and you all, a lot of the ladies will go out to these guys, and the guys like, these guys just don't, if they don't like you for you, they don't blah, 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 you don't need them, girl, blah, blah, blah. It's all these men. And then meanwhile, as soon as they get done, they're like, and remember, I got 3 books on Amazon. They're on sale right now for $9.95. Y'all go out there and buy my book. Okay? So here are media's objectives. This is really important, okay? Media's objectives aren't normal. Media encourages a thin, almost waifish woman's body, overly aggressive, perfect speaking men. Media is concerned about the camera view, not people's view of what is normal. So in order to illustrate this, I think I can illustrate this a little bit better. So I am going to just show you guys a video clip. I guess I should have had that video clip.
1. What exactly is it that makes a person hot? Well, we are looking for 3 basic components: face, body, and overall sex appeal. Our experts will be scoring our competitors on each of those factors using a scale of 1 to 10. So, experts, if you're ready, let's have a look at our first competitor right now.
A 25-year-old executive office manager from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Melinda Griffith.
Randolph?
All right, well, I'm glad you skipped the Baywatch audition and headed this way. But listen, Baywatch are here. You're going to need to firm that body up just a little bit. I know you guys like these voluptuous packages, but I saw a little too much jiggle. Could you turn around for me, Melinda? Who did the calves?
Actually, they were bonded by a cosmetic dentist in
Too
Atlanta.
big. Got to take them down. I think you have a really sultry face, and I actually like your makeup tonight, but I think those teeth are too big. Hey, I just
How
think
about
they're
some
too
scores,
big.
Randolph?
I think
Face,
the face
body?
is a 7.5. I deducted for the teeth, sorry, but she's got a sultry look. The body, I'm sorry, I gave her a 7.5. She needed to firm it up just a little bit. Overall sex appeal, though, a 9. She's a sexy woman.
I feel you've got a great sultry look, as Randolph said. There's something that's just a little bit off with it, whether it's a little hard. I'm not quite sure, so I give you a 5 on the face. Oh, give me a break.
And how about a score for the body?
The body, I give a 4, but I think overall sex appeal, I think you're very, very sexy and you know how to use your body.
Okay, so let's stop it right there because there's not much more to it. But if you really paid attention, this woman is gorgeous. Almost any man, period, in Atlanta would be falling over himself trying to get to her. And, you know, men and women in the group just can see that, saw that video. No, that's true. You know, y'all know I'm not lying to you. Here's the whole thing. Media, Hollywood said she wasn't good enough. That woman gave her a 5. And when she gave her a 5, the crowd booed her. They booed her. They're basically saying that Hollywood, your standards are stupid. They make no sense. We like her. We think she's attractive, but she's not good enough for you. The reason why you have to listen to this and understand this is because while I am trying to go through this thing about value, you need to be objective and understand what your real value is, and it does not come from Hollywood. That show, Hot or Not, I remember when that show came on, and I watched it live. That's how I remember to go back and get that clip. The whole thing was the judges were booed all night long because what they were looking for in their mind was a model. Somebody to be on the runway. And the people on the runway are praised when they're waifishly thin and they're sticks. But in reality, that is not what most men and or women find attractive. Okay, and again, based off your culture, you're going to find certain things more attractive or less attractive. All right? So you have to remember that. That's very important because like I say, I'm not here to beat anybody up. And I know beauty is a major, major thing for a lot of people. So I want to make sure that I'm being very open, and I'm hoping that you guys can follow me, excuse me, and give me a little bit of grace. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to ask, does anybody know who this little dog is? Anybody? You can just unmute and say it if you do. Okay, so nobody. This
He's
dog,
the teddy bear dog, isn't he?
you say what?
The teddy bear dog.
Yes, this is a teddy bear dog. This dog is Mr. Winkles. He was actually on Sex and the City at one time because he was that famous. But here's the story behind Mr. Winkles. You see his tongue? His tongue won't go in his mouth. Okay? When he was first, his first family didn't like him. They thought he was ugly because his tongue wouldn't go into his mouth. They basically got rid of him and they took him to the pound. There, a photographer found him, bought him, and became a millionaire off of him because she thought he was cute. What one person's trash is another person's treasure. I've said this before in this group, that everyone is beautiful. I truly believe it. And here's why. We all have seen an ugly dog. You know, a dog we will say, well, dang, yeah, that dog right there, that's an ugly dog. But how many ugly dogs do you really see in the world? I mean, seriously, how many ugly dogs do you see? They're so rare that when you see one, you almost flock to it. You just almost can't stop looking at it because they're so rare. Do you not think that the God who basically is watching the sparrows is creating ugly humans? We're a lot more important than a dog. And you don't see a lot of ugly dogs. Generally, if you see an ugly dog, it was just that they were misshapen from birth, from a birth defect. So when you're dealing with beauty, most people are attractive. They truly are. Now, whether you believe that or not is generally dependent upon, again, your culture, the types of things that you're looking for, blah, blah, blah. Okay, like one of the things, we're gonna get into it in a second, I'll be honestly, is about makeup. I'm always surprised with makeup because women sometimes will basically remove the very thing that men might find attractive in them and replace it with something else. Okay, so you have to be careful with all these things that people do, but then you also have to remember that guys like different things. You got guys that are face guys, guys that are eyes guys, guys that like style, makeup, hair, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing with confidence. Men need to understand that there's a lot of different types of confidence. Those people that are in the group and been knowing me, I've always been very open and honest. One of my problems, like I talked to, as said at the very beginning, is that I don't really understand how to code approach. I'm learning how to do that, but and I've been doing it more, but I don't really do it that well. And the reason why is because I literally got married at 25 and then I got a divorce later. So when I came out into the world, I hadn't really code approached a lot. And a code approach is when you don't know a woman and you kind of tap her on the shoulder. She's never seen you. She's never smiled at you. She's never done anything. And then you talk to her. Okay, that's called a code approach. And I'm still working on that. I'm still working on my confidence when it comes to code approaching. However, I have a lot of business confidence. I have a lot of work confidence. I have a lot of leadership confidence. So I am not the sum of social confidence, because that is what that is when men can just walk up to any woman. And women will go through their mind and they will think, okay, this guy's not that good or blah, 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 because he doesn't have this social confidence. Okay, so I have to learn how to build myself up, but women also have to learn that there's a lot of different confidence in the man. You just kind of have to find what confidence that guy has. So here's the reality, you kind of showed it up earlier. You got all these men, they're saying that this woman is a 5. And then you also had this one man that says, oh, I think she's a 10. And then he steps to her and then what she said, oh, you're a 5. Okay. And this is one of the frustrations that people have, because what they're dealing with is the very person that they think is really great, that person doesn't think they're great. And we're going to go a little bit more into that in the future, but I did want to talk about just grooming and glamour before I go into that. So here's grooming and glamour, okay, as I define it. And it's something everybody can do. I do like to give people tips. It's up to you if you want to do it. We're going to talk about contouring in a second for the guys that don't like a lot of makeup. Because there's always those women like, I talk to guys and they don't like a lot of makeup, blah, blah, blah. And there's a reason for that. But what you can see in these things is people trying to really make the person look better via their grooming or their glamour. In fact, there is even a tip for guys, because women are attracted to chins and jawlines. Whether guys know that or not, it was funny because it was the incel community that really figured it out. And your beard, guys, works like a woman's hair. A woman should be wearing her hair in a way that's flattering to her face, not the best style that's going on or the hottest trend. You really need to wear it based upon your face. Where men is the same way. Your beard is to accent your face and your jawline to make your jaw seem a lot more square, because that is what women are attracted to. And if you notice in both of these haircuts that the men got, they pull the hair off of the jawline because they're trying to get women to focus more on the jaw, which makes the man look more attractive. Also with here, they put a little bit more height, making him look taller. See, these are just optical illusions, but men can do the same optical illusions as women do. I mean, God gave us a beard for a reason. He knows what women are attracted to. But men have to understand that we can groom ourselves and give ourselves a little bit more of a hit, you know. Anywho, so here is contouring. So all y'all can get a good look for all those on the PC. I have never met a man who likes contouring. Never. Okay, and one of the problems with contouring is the very traits that you think a man might not like in you might be the very traits that he finds attractive. Like, not every man likes high cheekbones. Not every man likes thin lips or full lips or a small, teeny tiny nose, which a lot of Black women these days are doing things to try to make their nose look smaller. Not every man wants those things. And when you contour, you're basically telling men that the way that I naturally look, okay, is in my mind is not presentable. And then it's harder for you to find that guy that likes you as you are. Okay, now it's one thing to, you know, like I said, put on a little lipstick, a little eyeliner, some eyeshadow or whatever. It's a whole nother thing that by the time, you know, you go from A to B, you look like a whole nother person. Like this girl here in the first one, she jumped her skin tone three shades. What do you do when you find a guy who likes dark-skinned women? Okay, you just bypassed a great guy that might have loved you for who you are because you're too insecure about your skin color. Okay, so those types of things are what guys are talking about. Okay, they don't like that. Okay, and so I've been wanting to talk about contouring for a long period of time. So yes, and yes, I'm sorry, ladies, contouring is not something I'm ever going to, you know, give a thumbs up on unless you've been with this man and you just want to play around one night, because I do believe that all women should have control over themselves. I'm not trying to tell people how to live their life. I'm actually a guy who likes makeup, and I like women when they're creative with makeup. So for me, you know, because I come from a movie background. So for me, if I'm with somebody and then they're like, oh, I just want to do something fancy tonight, then I'm like, yeah, knock it out. Let's have fun. But, you know, if I'm first meeting you and, you know, you have the illusion of this, and this, and then I find out that that's not it, which is what a lot of people have, then it becomes a little bit. Now, there are always going to be those guys, ladies, and I just need to say this, that are just too stupid. You know, I'm just, you know, I kind of hate to say it like that, but I'm just going to be real. They're just too stupid. You know, they're going to look at this and be like, well, she looks totally different. And really all she put on was some eyeliner. She put the color for her, what do you call that, the foundation or whatever, powder is about the same. And her lipstick color is about the same, you know. And this one, that's why I chose her. She put a little bit of, you know, stuff on her eyes, but it's not really that bad. There's not a lot of contouring and stuff like that going on. Because even with her nose, you can see her nose looks exactly pretty much the same, even without the makeup. So if for me, if a man can't see that, you know, that this girl probably looks like this without makeup, and this girl probably looks like this without makeup, to me, okay, you just don't know, dude, you know, what women are like. And you just need to be around women and just get over yourself. But you know, there are some guys that don't like makeup. You know, there are guys that don't like makeup, and that's part of what, you know, we do want to talk about, is that if you are a guy that does not like makeup, that is cool. And if you're a woman that does not like makeup or anything, that's cool. But remember, as we talk about all the time, reflections. You generally date who you are on the other side. So if you basically are sitting around and you're saying, well, I want a guy that's very groomed, I want him in suits and nice shoes and stuff like that, then you need to be that woman on the other side. If you are not, then that's where a lot of the disconnect comes in, because there's always guys that don't want makeup because honestly they're jeans and t-shirt guys. They just want to be jeans and t-shirt guys, and they want to wake up and just be in their jeans and t-shirt and move around the house, and that is them. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there are lots of different personalities in the world. But what I'm trying to make sure that people understand is that if you do want that person like that, then you have to be that on your side. Okay. So here's a news flash really quick before we get to these last two. Every woman can get a man's attention. Okay. Every woman. It doesn't really mean anything. All of you, every lady that's on this call, if you halfway, made yourself look decent or whatever you think you need to do for the culture that's around you, you could go out today and have at least one man checking you out. That is not hard. So gaining attention doesn't mean anything. What means something is, can you get the bag? Can you establish a real relationship and get married? Okay, so women need to stop thinking, oh, I'm on Bumble and I got 20 men in my feed, so I'm awesome. No, you don't, boo, because every woman on this doggone thing got 20 men in their feed. Every single one. It does not mean you're special. So you cannot allow the fact that you're getting attention to go to your head. And it's one of the things that messes women up with understanding their marketplace value, because like I said, even if you're looking at this, a woman that is 60, and according to this chart is way, way down here as far as value, trust me, she can go out and get some attention. But can she get a man to take her down the aisle? Every woman gets attention. Heck, a 14-year-old girl can go get attention. And y'all know it is, because every time they do it and they end up on the news. Okay, so any woman. So don't get your head so high thinking, oh, I can get attention, I'm special. Every woman can get attention. Can you get a real relationship? That should be your marker. Same thing with men. Any man can make money. Okay, getting money really doesn't mean that much. Okay, it means a lot. That's that core element, that we talked about. But can you be desired by a woman for more than friendship? We all know, ladies, even though men do it as well, y'all will put a man in the friend zone. Because you're basically looking at him and you're like, oh, well, you're a good guy, but something's missing that, I'm really feeling deep down that I need, and you ain't giving it to me. Okay? So men need to kind of understand that. Because a lot of men who make money, and you'll see these guys all the time, because actually, if you guys know anything about a lot of the dating gurus on YouTube, the reason why so many of the men that are dating gurus make so much money from men is because most of those men that are their clients are six-figure or higher men. Because they were taught to make money. You make money, you get the woman. But the problem is making money is not enough. You get in front of a woman and you're still a nerd, or you're still weird, or your collar is doing this, and your shirt's wrinkled, and your breath stinks. Okay, and the woman's like, no. And then they get mad. Okay, so can you get out of the friend zone and get to what you're trying to get to? Okay, so here are the dangers of dating outside of your value. And I put these down here because there's a big trend right now on Instagram where it basically tells women to use this filter to see how they would look like as a man. And just like I said before, you should kind of reflect your person. So if you can look at your male version of yourself and be like, man, that dude ugly, then you need to work on you. Okay, because one of the things that men always talk about, you hear more from men than you do women, is the unrealistic expectations. And a lot of those unrealistic expectations go to appearance, because a lot of women think that they're cuter than what they are. Because like I said, a woman just walked down the street and she gets attention. Okay, so it gasses, as people say, gasses their head up. Okay, so most people generally kind of understand their value to a point. So when you're dating outside of your value, that can actually hurt you a little bit. So you have to be cautious. Because people generally understand their value, they want the best they can have. And if you're trying to date somebody too far outside of your value group, you can end up with stress, trying to keep up appearances that you naturally don't do. Okay, and then this is a big thing. And so many people in this group have this as hurt. This one right here is hurt. Placeholder. More so women than men, but several men have also been hurt by this and have talked about it. So what is a placeholder, real quick, for all the new people? You're the girl for now, or the guy for now. So it's like if I'm dating a woman and she's like, do you love me? Are you gonna marry me? Oh, girl, I got you. We ride or die, girl. And then 5 years go by. Why don't you want to marry me? You still haven't, and get, proposed to me or anything. Girl, I got you. And then she get mad at me and break up with me or whatever. And then she sees me 2 years later and I'm married to another chick, fully married, everything, got a kid. And she like, how'd that happen? Why she get what I didn't get? Because boo, he never wanted you. You were just free, easy coochie that he could just get to at any time. I'm just being real, okay, that he could get to at any time. You were available. You did not have the look he wanted, or you weren't nice enough, or you weren't sweet enough. He did not want to have children by you. He did not want to be stuck to you. You see it on the wonderful show of Maury Povich all the time, where these women will get on there and then they'd be so mad at the guy because he's been with them 3 or 4 years or whatever it was. She finally gets pregnant, but they never got married. And this dude is like, it ain't mine, because he does not want to be attached to her because she was just a placeholder. And women do this to men as well. They find a guy that they think is decent and he gonna kind of do what she want him to do. And so she can go out, she can have fun, blah, blah, blah. She can get her some, okay? But she's always looking for the better guy. Where's the better guy? Where's the better guy? So both men and women get this as pain. But a lot of this happens when you're dating outside of your value. You know that you're not the reflection of this person. You know that where they're trying to go in life is totally different than where you're trying to go. You know you're a jeans and t-shirt girl, and every time this guy steps out, he's in a suit. Okay, this person you're not reflecting each other. And just for most people, this is just something for everybody, but most people, not all, most people generally feel most comfortable with people who look like people in their family. So if you don't have a Hollywood look, when you're dating somebody and you meet their family, see whether or not you look like people in their family. Because if you don't, that could be an indicator. I try to tell people my ex-wife looked a lot like my cousin. So she kind of did look like our family. Like one of the girls that I dated, she looks almost exactly like my mom. In fact, when I took a picture and sent it to one of my friends, he was like, dang, man, that girl looked like your mama. But But it's just the bottom line. I'm used to those women. I'm used to how they look. So when I'm attracted to women, it's not that I don't ever have a Hollywood version of the woman that I might want to talk to, but I tend to gravitate to women who are comfortable to me. And the comfortable look is a look that I'm used to. So that is a way to kind of know whether or not somebody's attracted to you if you're not the Hollywood type of glamorous or groom or whatever it is. This dude kind of look like Brian McKnight, don't he? Okay, so what is your social attractiveness? This is the last slide, finally. Goodness gracious. Okay, so for men, it's a presentation of your strength and courage, possessions of capital goods and controls of services, caring, loving nature, ambitious priorities. This is why women, no matter what men say, they tend to look twice at guys that might have nice cars, nice clothes, smell good, are taller, bigger, muscular, all these types of things. They like men to pay for dates because it's showing, hey, I got the capital to take care of this. But at the same time, being a gentleman, so he's caring and loving, but have that ambitiousness inside of him. For women, it's the presentation of beauty. If you guys said it's not, that's bull crap. The beauty industry is one of the biggest industries in the world. Okay. I have seen Black women fight over weave and wigs, literally fight. Okay, so yes, beauty is important, and everybody knows it is. Deep down, we all know it is. The possession and appearance of the ability to produce, and this is just like I say, it's just more the appearance of the ability to produce. Loving, caring, supportive nature, family-oriented priorities. However, remember, both still have to deal with age, the amount of children, height, weight, style, culture, blah, blah, blah. Because like I said, in one culture, one thing might be attractive, in another culture, another thing might be attractive. And we were kind of talking about this earlier, Angel, but you have to check any reverse energy. So what is reverse energy? I'm just going to say this real quick. Again, we're going to get a lot into that next week. But reverse energy is mainly when somebody is not walking into the quote unquote definitions of manhood and or womanhood. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to change the game. So this is when a man is basically, like you're saying, he's coming up, he's trying to get his money right. So he's like, girl, you got to get your money right, you know, if you're going to hang with me. Now, if he was a multimillionaire, he wouldn't say that. You see what I'm saying? See, that lets you know. If he had the money, that next phrase wouldn't come out of his mouth. If he's working a company that's making $250,000 a year, and within 3 years, he's projecting he's going to be making $500,000 a year, okay, he's not going to give a flip about what a woman is financially bringing to the table.